Hi everyone. A couple years ago, I made a video on Authority, the second in the Southern Reach series. It did really well, better than I expected. It got a lot of views and a lot of positive comments. In general, a lot more than I would have predicted for a first video of a random channel. And just want to say thank you to the people that gave my video a shot. After that video, I got really motivated to continue. But as you can see, it's been a few years and nothing was uploaded. I just want to talk about why in this video. So I had the obstacles that most people end up having. I had procrastination, real life coming up and taking my time. I had decision paralysis. What do I want to do next? I had analysis paralysis, looking way too far ahead at what I can do and where I can go. But the biggest obstacle of all that I really want to focus on and talk about in this video is this idea that YouTube being something I really wanted to do, and I think I'll really enjoy doing, was something that I wouldn't give myself permission to do and to enjoy. So that might sound a little weird, but I've got an example of a time when I didn't do that. I did Mandarin Chinese as my major at university, as well as English linguistics. In that time, I won awards from the university. I got top 10% of students in my first year, as well as awards from the uni of outstanding study. I represented the university, then the country in competitions in China that went on TV. I studied overseas as well with scholarships. I made friends and networked around the city. I had a couple internships doing things that I really didn't think I'd ever get the chance to do. And it also set me up for most of the work that I've done in the last 10 years. So there's a lot of achievements there. And honestly, when I look back on them, what I really focus on is just evidence that I can really apply myself and achieve something stretching a lot further than I had at the time. I see my potential. And of course, I'm really, really grateful for those things. But what stands out to me most is the motivations for why I went into it. When I was 19, there was a few things going on in my life after leaving high school, and those things kind of resulted in me spending the money that I'd earned in that time, and also being focused on those things. I dropped out of contact with my high school friends. By the end of the year, I ended up isolated, really depressed, pretty much broke, with no kind of idea about my next step. So when I went to the university open day and I was shopping around for all the different majors, I had this thought inside of, what is something that I really want to do? When you push aside all that kind of depression and, all the kind of complicated thoughts that come with what is otherwise a very big decision, I just asked myself, what is something, right down at the core that I really want? And one of those things was learning language, something I wanted to do since I was a kid. So I decided on that major, and even before I got into the uni, I was grabbing books and starting to learn about Mandarin before I even got in. When I got into the course, from the first week, I was sitting at the front, practicing in a loud and kind of stupid voice that was actually a really good technique. And I was happy going home and just practicing in my room, sitting in the corner, doing all the kind of difficult parts, the kind of boring grammar. the entire process was really enjoyable for me. I threw myself into the learning process with no inhibitions at all. I was completely open to learning new techniques for learning language, learning about how to learn language, and everything in the language itself, I never approached with any kind of baggage bringing it in. If this was a certain way that the grammar is structured, and if that's the way that something is expressed in the language, then that's it. I accept that. I might ask about it to learn about it, but I'm not going to stop and fight and say, but in English we do this. And that kind of enthusiasm really led to me growing very quickly and gaining a lot of proficiency in the language. So when I'm talking about, my enthusiasm for learning Mandarin, I'm not talking about me being, some kind of prodigy or better than the best, or like, no, I don't mean any of that. I mean more like my enthusiasm for it helped me grow and learn in ways that, I otherwise wouldn't if I approached it with, expectations and ideas for it to live up to, and baggage that would stop and interrupt my learning in that process. And over the course of the degree, I built up enough skill to take on those challenges and end up winning those awards and doing those competitions and making those scholarships. And that kind of passion that drove me is something that I return to often when I'm trying to think about what I want to do with myself in my life. The results and those achievements were byproducts in a way. The important thing was that I was doing something that really provided me with that fulfillment. And it was through that fulfillment I was able to go and do what I really wanted. So when I think about YouTube, it's a very similar situation. Right now in life, I've been sick for a couple of months and in a great deal of pain. It's been quite difficult. This is probably my 30th take trying this video. And I'm at a similar low point in many different ways. And I've been confronted over and over again of giving myself that permission to go and do something I want to do. The kind of end results, like those achievements, are, not something I want to tie my ego to, not an ulterior motive for starting, but rather just following those things that interest you and enjoying anything else that comes up positively as a result of that. With YouTube, I really like the idea of going out and learning things, because I really love to learn. Taking that and then packaging that in a video. I've done teaching since university as well, so that's another skill that I can bring to taking what I've learned and delivering that to an audience. To me, it feels like a kind of journalism, I guess, but not so much about current events and politics, but more about kind of, I guess, edutainment, learning about the world around us and talking about all the interesting things out there. So, when I look at all the different edutainment channels, it's something that I think I'd be really passionate, or something that I think I would enjoy. Not just the learning process. I really like writing. It's been a very central part of my life. I also want to learn how to write for an audience, because it's mostly been personal. I feel like this is a really good opportunity to take this writing side of my life and also show that. So learning, writing, and the editing and creation of the video, that process, is also something that I want to learn and do a lot more. It's ages ago, but in high school, I directed a play for the class, and I just loved that as well. The storyboarding, putting together the script, working with everyone. And that kind of enjoyment is something that I want to see here as well. So when I really look at it from every angle, I can see myself in the same kind of everyday steps as I was for learning language. I was happy just sitting in my room, going through different grammatical structures, things that people normally consider boring, sitting there practicing my writing over and over. Even that was interesting to me. So here with YouTube, I can see that as well. And I'm happy just to write and try and put things together. At the time, I really had no kind of concept in my brain of, oh, I'm doing it for this ulterior motive. And that's kind of what I want to bring here as well. And that is a little bit difficult too, because I talk about the way I want to do a channel. Because if I can really get good at that, that's something that I can really see myself doing for the rest of my life. This kind of, educational, edutainment sort of journalism, whether freelance or not. It would be great to do that as a job, but I would also, just be happy doing that as a hobby. So I really procrastinated a lot. I came to the, kind of conclusions that a lot of YouTubers give of just start and figure it out, make a bad video, just get into the habit, get used to being in front of the camera, put it all out there. And that's what I'm trying to do here. I think it's really time to take the plunge and to not look back and be like, damn, I wish I started this earlier. I think you kind of get wrapped up in ideas of what you should do, and even for things that you love, how you should do it. So when it comes to me beginning now, I kind of have to accept that I don't have all of those skills. I don't have the high production, really intricately woven 3-hour video essay kind of planning and skill. And I don't think I'm even allowed to upload videos past 15 minutes anyway. So I think what I'd like to look at next is just nothing really too special, like nothing that'll shatter your world, but just something light and entertaining. First thing I'd like to do, honestly, is like a Star Trek top 10, nothing that's going to, change your life, but, just something light and fun. And that eventually, when I get used to it, going into those edutainment things. I just like the idea of trying lots of different types of writing that end up into a lot of different types of video. I'd like to do a couple essays as well. I'd like to go out and learn things and package that too. I'd like to do some top 10s. I'd like to do some media discussion, like TV and movies and books. I kind of like to try a bit of everything, at least writing-wise. When I say a bit of everything, I don't mean vlogs and things like that. So, yeah, this is just a start. This is just, having a go and trying to get myself into the groove, into the habit. I'm still figuring out how I can really deliver a lot of things, but at the same time, I just have to start. Just have to go for it. It'll all kind of pan out over time. If you got to the end of this, let me know. Just say you watched to the end. Hope this was, just interesting story. And yeah, I want to get to work, and I hope I can see everybody soon. Thank you and goodbye.